The City of Irvine is pleased to present the proposed two-year budget for the fiscal cycle that begins July 1st, 2021 and ends June 30th, 2023. The city's budget is developed in the context of a comprehensive 5-year strategic plan. Through the budget and 5-year financial planning, the City of Irvine strives to promote transparency, taxpayer accountability, and fiscal strength. We are proud to note that the city's efforts in maintaining strong fiscal health are consistently recognized by national and local financial organizations. The city starts the budget development process early, in October and November preceding the start of a new fiscal cycle. Initial analysis of budget numbers includes meetings with key subject matter experts, including hotels, retailers, and business partners. In January, a dialogue starts with the Finance Commission and City Council, followed by input from other city commissions and city employees. In March, public meetings are held on the budget, with input solicited and questions answered. A proposed budget document is then presented to the Finance Commission in April and to the City Council in May. The budget must be approved by the City Council by July 1st. The budget is not just a set of numbers. First and foremost, it is a policy document setting strategic priorities. Financial resources of the city are allocated based on these priorities through the budget process. The city's strategic priorities continue to focus on 5 areas of importance to our community, including maintaining high quality of life in our community, protecting our natural environment, improving traffic and mobility, maintaining the city's fiscal strength, and ensuring organizational excellence, including provision of high-quality, essential city services. The last year has been extremely challenging for our residents and businesses in many respects, including financial hardships. Similarly, the city's own revenues, mainly retail sales and hotel taxes, as well as fees for community recreation activities, have plummeted. We managed our finances this year by focusing only on essentials and reducing in areas that do not sacrifice basic city services. The next few years will be equally challenging, and to ensure that we balance our budget in a thoughtful way, we developed several budget balancing principles that reflect the city's core values in conjunction with our key priorities. These principles include prioritizing essential city services and avoiding service reductions to our community, avoiding layoffs, maximizing savings by renegotiating contracts, controlling overtime, and minimizing all discretionary spending, maximizing revenues by matching fees to costs of services, continuing responsible investments in the city's roads, sidewalks, bridges, and community buildings, and minimizing further impacts on the city's rainy day savings accounts. Irvine has enjoyed steady revenue growth over the last 5 years. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, growth is expected to taper off over the next 5 years. This slowdown will most significantly impact the city's general fund and the building and safety fund. The general fund collects the city's most basic revenues, such as property and sales taxes, to pay for essential public services, such as police, parks and recreation, and senior services. Property, sales, and hotel tax make up nearly 78% of the general fund revenue. Police services account for nearly 44% of general fund expenditures. In addition to the general fund, a number of special funds collect legally restricted revenues to pay for specialized projects and programs. For example, the Building and Safety Fund accounts for fees and expenses related to building plan check, inspection, and permit issuance. In the general fund, significant shortfalls are projected for the next 5 years, mainly as a result of large drops in hotel revenues and recreation activity fees. The annual budget gaps are between $10 million and $14 million. In line with the city's strategic priorities and budget balancing principles, city staff developed thoughtful balancing measures to ensure continuity of essential city services. These measures include postponing internal loan repayments from the general fund to an internal infrastructure fund to save $2.9 million to $4.4 million annually. Postponing non-mandated extra payments that the city has been making into the Employee Retirement Fund, similar to additional mortgage principal payments. This will save $2 million annually. Utilizing one-time balances in internal service costs such as mail, printing, technology, and vehicle funds to save $1.4 million annually. Continuing the current practice of freezing non-essential position vacancies to save $1.6 million annually. Renegotiating all contracts to save between $1.5 million and $1.9 million annually. Continuing to manage police overtime to save as much as $1 million annually. And being diligent on all other daily expenses. As mentioned earlier, in addition to the general fund, COVID-19 as well as prior decisions have negatively impacted the city's building and safety fund. The city charges permit and plan check fees to offset the cost of providing these services. These fees remained unchanged for 12 years between 2007 and 2019. While the fees were finally adjusted in 2019, it was too little, too late. The city has consistently cut costs in this fund by over $1 million a year by reducing staff. These cuts have not been sufficient, and the fund now has a negative balance. Fee increases of as much as 15% will likely be necessary to sustain the financial health of this building and safety fund. While the fiscal environment ahead is challenging, the city will continue investing in our parks, streets, and community facilities through specialized funding sources such as the state gasoline tax. Over the next 5 years, over $180 million will be invested in our community, with over half of that amount in the first 2 years. These capital investments will include street and mobility projects such as adding missing connections to the Jeffrey Open Space Trail and repaving various city streets. Great park investments such as additional shade structures and baseball stadium improvements. Improvements to city parks such as the Bill Barber Community Park. And landscape projects such as median rehabilitation in the university area. Lastly, significant development is planned in the Great Park. The community will be invited to participate in a discussion concerning the future of this gem through an update to the Parks Master Plan in the summer and fall of this year. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented and significant impacts on the city's revenues and operations, as well as on our residential and business community. Recovery will be gradual, with lingering impacts on city revenues and local businesses. Under the thoughtful leadership of our mayor and city council, and by working together with our residents, business community, and dedicated staff, we will be able to effectively come out of this multidimensional crisis stronger and more resilient as a community. In the meantime, all of this information, including all of our presentations, will be available on our budget website at cityofirvine.org/budget. Please connect with us with any questions you might have via email at budget@cityofirvine.org.